Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, I want to thank everybody for joining us for today's webcast entitled Lab Automation, Tomorrow's Reality is starting today. Presented by L7 Informatics and brought to you by Asterix Technology. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. Before I turn it over to the very capable hands of our speaker, if you haven't been in attendance of any of Asterix webcast series so far, I want to give you a little sense of what this is all about. We've been running this for we're over a year now, where we're bringing in some of the thought leaders from throughout the lab informatics and lab technology space to give their perspectives on where the lab informatics industry is heading. Asterix plays in this space. We are a professional services organization primarily. We successfully deliver highly specialized services, processes, technology, outsourced services, etc. All designed to fundamentally transform how science-based businesses operate. We do this in an effort to ultimately improve scientific outcomes in the lives of people everywhere. Some quick stats about us. We were established in 1995, so we've been around quite a while, privately held. We started as an IT division of a company called APBI, which is a life science research organization. We operate from 7 offices in the United States and 1 in beautiful Costa Rica. And our headquarters are in Red Bank, New Jersey. The type of companies that we help are essentially in a number of categories: Fortune 1000 life sciences, chemical companies, CPGs. We do government research institutions, generally companies that are going to have large and fast-growing IT needs as well as compliance needs. We can go to the next slide, please. As far as the services that we bring, we like to think that we provide services that address the complete life cycle of scientific data systems. This is from everything from the very beginning, where we're helping companies with business process analysis and enterprise architecture, in other words, figuring out what their technology needs are going to be now and in the future, and then helping them select, develop, and deploy certain applications to bring this all together, essentially building out their lab tech stack. And from there, we can help with post-implementation services such as computer systems validation, making sure these systems meet FDA guidelines. And from there, we can even offer ongoing services and support for these applications, everything from training to support to upgrades, etc. And even taking it a step further, we can also provide staffing. We can staff IT personnel, we can staff laboratory scientific personnel, etc. So that's a little bit about the services that we provide. I'd like to introduce our speaker now and turn it over the very capable hands of Patrick Rose. He's a director of product management at L7. He brings 15 years of lab informatics industry experience. He's currently the director of product management at L7 Informatics. He's spent his career working directly with customers to understand what the challenges are and helping to ensure that their needs come first. He is currently working on a holistic digital transformation of the lab and how the lab of the future can help scientists better understand the data and accelerate science. With that, Patrick, I'll turn it into your capable hands and I'll pop back in at the end.
Great, thank you, Kevin. And so a little bit, before I get into kind of my presentation, and I'm super excited to be here, just a little bit about L7 Informatics. And so, we're a leader in enterprise scale digital transformation and automation of scientific processes in life sciences. We've recently been recognized by Gartner as one of the cool vendors in life sciences, and we've been identified as a sample vendor in 8 hype cycles, as well as highlighted in a recent market guide for library informatics. We were founded in 2011, and we rebranded as L7 in 2018. We're based in Austin, Texas, and have over 100 employees. I think it's over 120 now. It changes on a weekly basis, but we're consisting largely of scientists and engineers. And our solutions span a variety of verticals, including precision research, precision diagnostics, therapeutics, precision medicine, and precision agriculture. At L7, our mission is to help revolutionize scientific processes and data management in order to accelerate precision health across life sciences, healthcare, and nutritional value chains. Our end-to-end solutions and services enable researchers to make new genomic discoveries, precision therapeutic manufacturers to create higher fidelity therapies, health systems to provide superior diagnostics and standards of care, and precision agriculture to meet tomorrow's needs. And so as you look across the landscape of most scientific companies, there's an ever-increasing complexity in both the science as well as the information technology landscape that makes digitalization of the data even more complicated. Science is advancing into more and more complex scientific modalities that require explicit instruments, tools, knowledge. And with that advancement in the science, there's also increased complexity and demand from the scientists. So companies are utilizing different point solutions that are either very loosely connected or really aren't connected at all. And this really kind of sets up a spider web of information and very disparate and distinguished information. And so as you layer on top the different systems, the fact that users are typing in the information in kind of non-uniform manner, they're causing the same word to be reflected by different users in different manners, in between the different data silos and the unstructured way the data is kept, it really results in a lot of unusable, unfindable, and very difficult to analyze data. And so due to all those spider webs and inaccessible data, we know we need to make a path to the Industry 4.0 through digitalization. What almost all labs have today are a lot of the level 1 and a lot of the level 2, where they can manually collect their data and they put that in their defined informatics tools that they use for that item. We have seen a very fast adoption and increased availability of the connected instruments. And so systems like L7 will also allow for connected processes and connected software systems. So the next steps you need are seeing what is happening to your data lab and with clearer visibility, being able to understand through intelligence what is happening in your lab with greater transparency, and then taking the data and predicting what is going to happen next, so you can continue to understand the data before you get to it. And then finally, knowing where your data is, what is happening to it, and what's going to happen next. How do you correct it and optimize it so you can move from taking care of it as it happens to proactively making changes before it happens. I think over the last 2 years now with the COVID pandemic, it really helped accelerate a digital automation in the lab. In 2020, farmers and biotech labs scrambled to quickly analyze the new virus, develop and deliver vaccines, all while trying to keep their employees safe. A side effect of this was a renewed buy-in from leadership to transform their labs and transform it now. The effect of the pandemic will continue to impact how pharma and biotech world operates even after it's behind us. In a recent Forrester study, 69% of decision makers surveyed felt their organization would lose out to the competition without connecting and automating their labs. And this helps to make the path to 4.0 and digitalization the new normal for their labs. And so when I think of how labs are transforming and how they're moving into the digital world and understanding the key differences between these two terms are essential when formulating the transformation strategy. Digitization means converting something into a digital format and usually refers to encoding of data and documents. There are many examples of this in the lab today, from a typical ELN to moving the data directly to your software systems to track results. And digitization is the first step to digitalization. And this makes the entire makeover, it's called the digital transformation. So on the other hand, digitalization means to convert business processes over to use your digital technology instead of the analog or offline systems, such as paper or whiteboards. Digitalization may contribute to a change in business models as new technologies provide access to ways of doing business that really weren't available in the years past. Efficiency gains are another key benefit of business digitalization, with less double handling of data and greater accuracy of work, leading to a better utilization of resources. Digitalization also enables better visibility of the organization's performance through real-time data capture and reporting. And this improvement is the quality of data-enabled business decisions to make it more quickly and with greater accuracy. Digitalization allows us to collect information from our new, now automated processes, and these digital pieces of data collected can be processed and gathered metrics can be applied to optimize your business outcome. using information received from multiple channels like your instruments, software, and processes to provide a greater insight into pain points and thereby reducing downtime. Boy, who would have guessed that just 2 letters was the difference between status quo to confirming the way the labs do business and the speed at which science advances? The first step of digitalizing your future is utilizing connected platforms to connect data. You want to automate and aggregate your data through tooling like process-driven workflows and data engines. The next step is one of the most important in my mind, right? As you collect your data and connect your systems, doing that in a way that allows you to harmonize the way it's collected using ontology management systems and public standards, as well as adhering to fair data principles. And now that you have your data aggregated, and now that you have your data standardized, I can now analyze and visualize that data in ways that I was never able to do before, like using tools like AI and ML in order to kind of fully flesh that out. When you start thinking about your digital transformation and automating your lab, there are 3 initial steps that I think of when coming up with a game plan to fully automate your lab. 1, you need to think about the equipment in your lab and how you connect the instruments and robotics to eliminate the manual steps you use as a performer today, which allows them to focus on the science and have the instrument perform the tasks they were built for. For example, it's well documented that even experienced researchers can vary from standard protocols. Reducing the potential for human error throughout the entire lab involves better process monitoring, automating steps at high risks of variability. Then you want to take the software that lives in your digital ecosystem to collect the data, help with processes, and create a place where you mimic the work happening in the lab in the digital world, ensuring the systems start to work with your users instead of against it. Automation through connected systems can help labs be agile and adapt business models in the face of adversity. When you have the equipment and the software connected, you can automate your workflows to automate both the actions happening in the lab and collecting the data in a framework that allows your users to gain further insights from it. This automation starts bringing you down a path that once you have your data collected, you've truly transformed your lab. In this data-driven world, labs that invest in digitalization today will be placed ahead of their competition. Labs and organizations that use intelligent, connected systems to get approved therapies to market faster and with reliability and robust data quality will be the clear winners. The traditional way of collecting data is to gather it from all sources and load it into one single database as a system of reference. But this creates digital silos, which then require validation, and as companies merge, are acquired, or receive new protocols, this leads to complications with outdated data, resulting in a very high IT expenses as IT maintains various complex, redundant systems. Unified platforms simplify the collecting and sharing of data between departments and companies and eliminate those complex, redundant systems. Unified platforms have a common data model, codes, tooling, and architecture, and common business processes that span capabilities across departments and companies in order to provide greater process intelligence, all from one system that offers the applications needed. Technology has come a long way in the last several years. Digital transformation and unified platforms are necessary to reduce cost and increase the speed of drug to market. L7 Informatics has built one of the best scientific unified platforms on the market called L7 ESP. With this, L7 has raised the bar for enterprise scientific software with no-code, low-code capabilities and efficiencies in gaining composable architecture. And this integrated platform provides a single data and process optimization platform for all therapy-related information in a regulatory and GMP compliant way, while supporting better collaboration between all of your stakeholders. As companies start thinking about how they can bring together the data in a harmonized manner, they also need to think about the exchange of data with their partners, clients, and other scientific organizations. Having the ability to share this data not only allows for more robust data sets, it cuts down on some of the notoriously error-prone steps of taking the data collected from a partner and, in the best cases, uploading it to your system, and in the worst cases, manually re-entering it or not even having the data at all. So when you look at your organizations and you start to realize how many people, customers, instruments, and systems touch your data, even during one single process, the need to organize that data and the need to share that across your organization will help you bring together more and more data in much, much different ways. However, with all that data that is being collected from so many different sources, how do you go about organizing and standardizing and making sure that you understand the data in those various ways? And that's where having something like an ontology management system and a way to standardize the way you're collecting the data, and this helps bring you a step forward. And this is where we are advancing our path to Industry 4.0 by both having the visibility and transparency in the system. And so connecting ESP with systems like SciBite Sentry system also allows you to show you're collecting the data from the various systems and companies and ensuring they use the same terminology. With ontology management, the company's subject matter experts can centrally manage and extend standard ontologies or ontologies managed by the company. And this starts that each system, company, or process is utilizing the same terminology, since they're explicitly understood across all the different parts of the company's software ecosystem. Along with using ontology, layering on public standards like allotrope or animal, and providing the foundation for fair data standards, as well as continuing the ability to exchange data between different organizations. Studies have shown that the cost of not having fair data are around $10 million annually, which is a result of poor decisions made on that data, time wasted trying to find the data, and duplicating work when the data is not able to be found. So you can see the value in ensuring your data is fair. The key is to ensure that as you collect, as you aggregate, is to ensure that you're following these principles to begin with. This will help ensure that you're not only optimizing your lab, but enhancing the quality of the data and allowing scientists to spend the time on understanding and finding new scientific discoveries instead of translating, retesting, understanding the data, trying to play around with it in order to try to kind of translate it into what makes sense to you. Having it fair and having it understood is invaluable. And so, as we've discussed throughout today's presentation, there are three major steps that must be taken before you really unlock the power of the data. You want to aggregate and unify the data so that you break down the silos and have the information in a single repository. You want to standardize and organize the data through open standards and ontology management systems. And lastly, automate your data in order to streamline and optimize the capture of the data and reduce the need to have manual interventions and human interactions with the system, instruments, and processes. The level of data generated and interacted with on a daily basis makes the responsibility of laboratories to safeguard data integrity even more necessary. With the help of smart digital solutions, data is not only safer, but also more contextual and accessible over the long term. Taking that collected and standardized and quality data is a necessary step of gaining deeper insights to your data. And this is where the fun really begins. And we start understanding and manipulating the data in ways that were not possible in years past. While having all the data is a crucial step in intelligence, not having the right data in the right place can be disastrous. Having the data allows you to look at result trends and mine historical data to understand how issues arise so that protective measures can be put in place. However, these kind of retrospective and predictive analytical approaches can only be carried out when you have the data and metadata available with the context. Sophisticated analytical suites and visualization tools are paramount in the quality control arena. Laboratories are transforming into predictive rather than reactive environments, with the use of artificial intelligence and guided algorithms that can anticipate where potential and actual processes, instruments, in workflow fault lies based on real-time data. Predictive modeling tools ensure quality and expedited turnaround by identifying problems before manufacturing or testing has to stop. These insights give the pharmaceutical industry the ability to quickly identify areas for improvement or resolution. Utilizing the tools your companies use today and the data unlocked by this process, you can start doing advanced analytics and predictive modeling to continue to refine your science and accelerate the future. All of this comes to those who take the time to ensure they're getting the data from the right place at the right time in the right way. As we've discussed throughout today's presentation, the lab is ready for a change. And the first steps of standardizing and aggregating the data, and then automating the lab to allow for the digital process to help streamline the physical lab, and the benefits start to become clear. You're able to optimize both the systems and the instruments in the lab, which help streamline your processes, limit the downtime, and increase productivity in the lab. You improve reliability, reproducibility, and efficiency and safety in our labs. We need to reduce the variability, and we need data to do this. Intelligent automation and robotic technology in labs can be operated remotely, and they can correct data in real time. And they offer an in-depth analytics and insights like never seen before. If you can reduce the manual work done in the lab, and the benefits are twofold. Not only are you reducing the notoriously error-prone manual steps that need to be done without human interaction, you also free up those humans and those scientists to do the work you hired them for. They can now understand the results and further the science. The next is with all this data you've collected from an automated process and the standards you put in place to gain increased knowledge from having all that data in the same place, it allows you to perform more advanced analytics on them. And the last, since you're getting the data quickly and you're correctly, and you're aggregating in a way that you can truly understand the data, you increase the predictability of ensuring the results are in the right place with the right time, really getting you to that value even quicker than you ever could before. Just imagine in a critical health situation, having automated correct data that you can get to a patient faster. Like I said, the benefits become very clear. For a lot of companies we work with, the execution of the digitalized future can look like a lot of work. It's helpful for them to know that they're not alone. Many companies have disconnected data and processes in place and are also looking for a change. If you look at your organization and see your data is confusing and separate, your processes are sometimes lacking, and that people are not spending the time where they need it, I want to assure you, you're not alone. You need to take a step back. The first step is finding a way to resolve this by connecting your users, your instruments, your system, and your data. L7's product suite can help make all this a reality. We can work with you to create, architect, and compose different digital primitives based on the science you do, helping to ensure you have the right process models and connectors needed. Utilizing our hub, we can make sure you store and reuse those primitives in a single lab or across all the labs in your organization. And this will help make sure your things have begun to be standardized. Building on this, you can both execute and process your data, results, and inventory, allowing you to ensure you are capturing the information that's most critical to your lab. With all of this complete, you can then analyze the data using intelligence tools and exchange the data with your partners who can understand it because they follow those same standards and the same ontologies that you do. In order for laboratories to protect their investments and derive maximum insights from the data, they must be able to negotiate the rapidly evolving technology and digital landscape seamlessly. As opposed to a revolutionary approach which requires building entirely new platforms, an evolutionary stance on product development protects customers' investments while safeguarding their data. The pandemic may have dramatically increased the demand for a precision-based laboratory automation solution, but the trend towards lab digitalization had already begun before. While some labs may be hesitant of these changes, others with a head start are already reaping the benefits of AI analytics, robotics, and connected technologies. Gartner found that life science companies are increasingly looking to technology-based innovations to drive their pipelines, digital capabilities, novel therapies, and new commercial engagement models. Working with companies that can help you realize these goals because they understand the value of your data should be key during your search. Having the right technology and processes can go a long way to understanding and making decisions on your data. And this helps to ensure that you can look at having the right data in the right place and organized in the right way to help move your company forward. I thank you for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Patrick. Yeah, thank you very much. Let me do this real quick. Let me get the recording stopped for the session.